This is Mickey Kruger. Mickey, you were in on the process of creating the Williamsberg fabric from the concept to the fruition of the fabric. Tell me how much fun it was.
It was a lot of fun, Jody. And yeah, we were there from the beginning, and when we were imagining what it would be like to create all this fabric from Williamsburg textile archives, we were envisioning going into their textile archives and working from there. And when we did go in there, we found more than we ever imagined would be there. Quilts, costumes, coverlets, but it went on from there. We didn't imagine that we could find so much more design inspiration from their rare archives, books collections, from their costume collections, from the Governor's Palace. We found design inspiration at the Milliner, at the Weaver, at the Abbey Aldrich Rockefeller Folk Art Museum, from paintings. It was just a wonderful discovery. We decided at that point that the fabric collections that were from the Williamsburg archives would go on forever.
So how do you take all of this inspiration and first of all choose what to use?
Well, that's a really difficult process, only made more difficult by us. Because what we do was we took literally thousands of pictures of all of these objects. We didn't know what we were going to use. We just kept shooting and shooting and shooting. We shot long shots, close-ups. We made sure to get full repeats of the fabric in the quilts and the costumes and all of the artifacts. We made sure that we would see all the detail in all of those minute little swatches of fabrics, and make sure that we had guidelines to make the colors correct. Then we brought all of those thousands of shots back to the studio. From there, we took a long time to painstakingly select which ones we would use, which ones would go into this collection, which ones would go into that collection. Once we narrowed it down from there, we took those digital images and brought them to our artists to hand paint. Now, we hand paint all of the artwork much in the same way that the artisans would have done it hundreds of years ago when they were doing the original artwork for the original textiles. We then create the designs in a layout that would be appropriate for today's fabrics, for today's quilters, and we send all of that artwork to our factories in the Orient, where it is put onto fabric on what's called a strike-off. We take that strike-off and we work with Williamsburg back and forth to make sure that we got it right.
Oh, yes.
To make sure that all the little leaves and all the little berries are in the right place relative to the original, and to make sure that the colors match the original as closely as possible. We call those originals document pieces.
Okay. Now, are they all document pieces? Did you take the actual prints that were there in every case and reproduce them?
Oftentimes we do. We always like to do a original document piece, but a quilter today really wouldn't be satisfied with that. Quilters today want colorways, and we do invent new colorways from the original document piece, and when all that comes together in a cohesive collection, we make sure that it all works together based on those original document pieces, so we're not far off in some crazy colors that don't make sense.
Okay, and so that you can sell these kinds of packs that will go together in a quilt that works together.
Exactly.
With different various scales and textures of fabrics.
Exactly. So we take wonderful quilts from the Williamsburg archives. It might come from one quilt, it might come from several quilts, it might come from architectural details, it might come from paintings of botanical florals, and we make it into a collection that's cohesive, that a quilter could say, I could make a quilt out of that.
Mm-hmm. Now, is this a one-time collection?
Well, no. we found it impossible to make just 1 or 2 collections a year. We'll make 6 or 8 or 12 collections a year because of what we found at Williamsburg. Yeah. It just went on and on forever into areas that we never imagined would make sense on fabric, but they do.
So after the artwork is done and it's sent off to the mill, what happens at the mill?
Well, the first thing the mill does is they do what's called a strike-off. Mm-hmm. A strike-off is a sample piece of fabric that is produced through what's called a rotary screen. A rotary screen is a modern version of what used to be created through a hand screen.
Oh, silk screening.
Like silk screening, and it takes the dye stuff and it puts it onto the fabric. And we have special machines in our factories that provide us with large strike-offs that allow us to make model quilts from our special strike-offs. Now we'll take those strike-offs, they're not always right the very first time, and we'll take those strike-offs and do them 5 or 6 times sometimes until we get it just right. And we'll work with Williamsberg in that process for them to tell us, yes, you've got it just right. Once the strike-off is approved, which means that it looks just like the original document piece or just like the artwork that we originally intended, we'll go to bulk production. Bulk production is when they put it on the big machines and they roll off thousands of yards of fabric. So we get that bulk production in big rolls from the factories, and we take those big rolls and we double enroll them onto smaller bolts, and that's what gets shipped to the quilt shops.
Oh, that's how it happens.
That's how we wind up with beautiful fabric in the quilt shops.
Yep, it all starts in Williamsburg in this instance.
It does.
And then miraculously we have these beautiful selections of fat quarters. This is gorgeous.
It's interesting because, Jody, it does start in Williamsburg and it goes around the world and back to us here in the U.S., much in the same way that those quilts that we're looking at in Williamsburg came from fabrics that started
That's right, as we learned
all over
earlier.
the world.
Yes,
Exactly.
That's right, and it is a small world. These are absolutely beautiful. Thank you, Williamsburg, and thank you, Mickey, for making such gorgeous fabrics for all of us.
Thank you.